Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Been a while since we talked about US-1, and over a month since we did anything that wasn't DC. Yeah, that was unintentional. I didn't realize until halfway through the month that every episode in May was a DC book. Part of that was because months ago I changed what I was going to cover for the 500th episode. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it was. It might end up being the 600th episode or something, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. All I'll say is that it was Marvel, and I've gotten a lot of requests for it. And yet, even setting that aside, it's been almost a full 2 years since we looked at an issue of US-1, another classic recurring segment of this show as we talk about Ulysses Solomon Archer, a character who first showed up all the way back in the 7th episode. For those of you new to the channel, US-1 was a tie-in comic to slot car racers of the same name. Made in the early 80s, the comic decided to embrace the 70s boom of trucker culture. You know, a few years too late, and then just decided to abandon all pretense of being a serious trucker superhero only a few issues in and just go balls to the wall insane. Just 2 issues ago, we had an alien who spoke in CB radio lingo. The last issue, while not as out there, did still have them taking on a motorcycle gang while evading law enforcement who were going after US's adoptive mother, affectionately referred to as Wide Load, for her treatment of a debt collector. However, the issue ended with her getting mind-controlled by Midnight, a supervillain US had fought earlier who had some kind of hypno-whip. And as a reminder, this is a story about a trucker. So let's dig into US-1 number 7 and see where it takes us this time.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a birdie hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazon and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
How'd you like to get behind the wheel of a 10-ton truck? Now you can with US-1 electric trucking. It's got 2 tough, hard-working trucks that you control.
The cover is okay compositionally, Midnight standing in front of the US-1 truck, but for some reason they decided to go for some kind of watercolor painting. Everything looks kind of washed out, and I really don't know why they decided to make the cover like this. Also, Midnight is actually standing on the bumper, which kind of lessens her coolness factor when you realize that all it'd take is that truck to nudge itself forward for her to fall flat on her face. Anyway, we open with some shots of the US-1 truck. My headlights stab through the ink-black night, lighting a path for my wheels to follow. Because I guess we decided to start promoting those slot cars that move by shining a light down on them. My exhaust pipes billow noxious fumes in the cold night air. Ozone layers are for wusses. My trailer echoes hollowly, no longer filled with goods. I've already made my delivery. Those porno magazines will reach the newsstand safely now. Within the warm confines of my cab are 2 people. Wide Load Annie sits, eyes staring, mesmerized. She has transcended the bounds of the comic book and is listening to my narration. She is naturally horrified by the implications. Beside her, at the wheel, is Ulysses Solomon Archer. He is my driver, my creator, my master. But, I really shouldn't be talking about that last part in public. And who is it who's been narrating all this? And me. I'm the truck. I'm US-1. Oh my god, they brainwashed Optimus Prime! So, yeah, behold the hook for this issue. The truck is narrating this thing. So I guess it wasn't enough that they turned this big rig into a friggin' battle wagon. Apparently Ulysses is gifted with the power of God because he imparted consciousness onto his truck. Or maybe it's like that Monster Motors thing that Moarte looked at a few years ago. Hey, jackass! Is this comic anything like Monster Motors?
Go chew on your tie. I'm busy working on a DVD.
He's working on a DVD. The title of the issue is even Semi-Intelligence, which, nice work on the pun, but doesn't that imply that the truck has limited intelligence? Or that while it may be sapient, it's actually stupid? If it's just limited, it's got quite a very decent vocabulary behind it, and is otherwise very well spoken. Is it just an artificial intelligence? Or is this like a Toy Story thing, where inanimate objects are alive, but pretend not to be? I would joke that this is a weird remake of Maximum Overdrive, except Maximum Overdrive was already kind of a goofy movie. The truck saw Wideload getting the mind control whip on her, and I guess this panel is being cute by having a word balloon coming out of the truck instead of narrative captions, but that just makes me wonder why the hell the truck doesn't tell Ulysses about this. However, Ulysses does notice that Wideload has been weirdly quiet since they left the town. Sure, US. I am fine. I am just tired from the fight we had with Iron Mike and his bikers. I guess I should sleep now, honk shoe, z z z z z z z z. US tells her to get some sleep and leave the driving to him. Huh, what does he think I am, a Greyhound bus? How dare he tell her to sleep? People only sleep on buses! After they arrive back at the truck stop they call home, the truck reintroduces all the characters, including potential love interests / potential supervillains Mary and Taryn, as well as Papa Wheelie and Retread. All in all, the best bunch of friends a man, or truck, could ask for. All the upgrades inflicted on me have made me an outcast to my own truck kind. I live now only among the humans. They also meet with Jobber Carosella, the guy who hired US to haul the goods into the town in the previous issue, congratulating them on a job well done. Sure, I do all the work and he gets all the glory. I'll get my revenge soon enough. I cut my own brake lines. Wait. Oh well, that's the way it goes when you're an inanimate object.
Are you real?
Jobber pays up for their successful haul, even including a bonus for dealing with Iron Mike. US hands it off to Papa Wheelie so they can start paying off their mortgage. Well, this is just swell. Isn't that right, Wideload? Yes. Swell. I certainly won't be using that money at the blackjack table, no siree. US exposits that he had overheard their conversation about the mortgage problems and was happy to prove that even though he had been wrapped up in his own issues, he could still haul freight like any good trucker. He also wonders what happened to the debt collector, Legreed. Yeah, I gotta make sure we know he's the villain with those informed attributes. After all, we saw how greedy he was, like when he asked for the exact amount of money he was owed. And Wideload responded by throwing him through a window. Dude's so greedy, he should be an Orange Lantern. Speaking of, Legreed himself shows up with the cops. Papa Wheelie hands over the mortgage money, but Legreed demands an apology for the assault inflicted on him. Apologize, you horrid, unkempt, fat excuse for a woman! Oh, well, I'm sorry that your colon got redirected towards your head. It must be very unpleasant to have all that crap come out of your mouth. The others assume Wideload is gonna murder him over that, but then she apologizes. I'm sorry, Mr. Legreed. It was wrong to hit you. It won't happen again. Next time, I'll have Papa do it. Surprisingly, Legreed is actually satisfied with that. Sure, he still says he plans to foreclose on the property if they miss another mortgage payment, but he's apparently not pressing charges. Huh. Amazing how effective an apology, even an insincere one, can be, isn't it? Anyway, the rest of the group is shocked that Wideload didn't deck him, but she claims she's just tired from the trip. Well, okay, but I'm still kind of worried about you. That makes two of us, Papa. If only I could talk, tell them what's wrong. But I can't! I'm a truck!
There is logic in what he says.
Yeah, it sure is lonely being a truck sometimes.
How do you function?
The truck laments how it can't get involved with the others and talk with them and stuff. And, as per usual at this truck stop, a fight breaks out inside, and a guy gets thrown through the window. You know, maybe this place could afford its mortgage payments if they didn't have to keep replacing the glass. The fights? Maybe it's not so bad being a truck after all. I mean, I could literally flatten every single one of these people. You ever have a fist fight with a truck? The truck will win. The truck will always win. Retread and Papa Wheelie sneak out of the place while the fight goes on and head over to the truck, Papa musing about how the vehicle is his masterpiece. "Tomorrow I think I'll give you an overhaul, old girl." "I'm not a girl, I tell ya!" I mean, yeah, you could be whatever gender you like, but how does a truck even decide what gender it is? What the heck? If Papa likes to think of me as a female, I guess I can live with that. I'm secure in my identity. Well, that just seems like an unhealthy message. It's okay if people misgender you. Just be secure in your own personal identity, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Why am I talking about this in relation to a frickin' truck? The two are then hit by the Hypno Whip, the truck once again lamenting that it can't warn them. "My head, it feels all numb. Like the last time I ate Chinese food." Whew, I tell you, man, fortune cookies are a hell of a drug. Midnight comes out of the shadows and instructs the two to bring US to her along with Wideload. They do so, and soon they're holding US at bay in front of Midnight. She says that while she can control all these people's minds, her inability to control his has confounded her. "You made me look the fool in front of my employer, the highwayman, and that cost me many high-paying assignments." Lady, you have a mind control whip. You can get a job anywhere else or steal the money without anyone knowing you were involved. It's not his fault you're an idiot. US thinks to himself that it's good she hasn't tried to use the mind control whip on him again, since last time he was only able to defeat her thanks to some chewing gum's foil wrapper that he had in his mouth. Which, of course, he doesn't have now. Her plan this time is to drive around on a motorcycle and whip him from a distance, intending to use the mind control portion afterwards once he's been softened up. And just to point out your further stupidity, Midnight, you're doing this to US for free when I know some people who would pay you to do it. The truck once again is sad that he can't do anything to help Ulysses. "I'm just a machine, a pile of glass, rubber, and steel." Then how are you thinking all of this? Fortunately, US is able to slip his hand into his pocket and pull out the silver dollar remote control for the truck. Yes, as a reminder, and an introduction for anyone new here, US can remote control his truck thanks to microcircuits inside of a friggin' silver dollar. However, the whip strikes near his hand and he drops it, also causing some kind of electronic backlash into the metal plate in US's skull. But then the truck's lights come on, along with the rest of it, causing it to start chasing after Midnight. Her whip is useless against the driverless truck, and it starts launching weapons at her. Tear gas, a grappling hook to snatch her whip away, and some caltrops to shred her tires. However, her motorcycle is souped up with tech of her own, booster rockets that allow her to avoid the caltrops. However, the truck does have heat-seeking missiles that pursue her, and suddenly this whole thing really just feels like the movie Megaforce. Which is not a complaint, that movie is awesome. She drives over a hill and the missiles follow, blowing up, but leaving her fate unknown. US gets free and heads over to the Hypno Whip that the truck caught, flipping some switches on it randomly in the hopes of releasing the others. He succeeds, and they're naturally confused about what the hell just happened. US isn't sure how the truck moved on its own, figuring that the whip probably just activated the control circuits by accident. "All I know is US-1 and I are a team. To beat one of us, you have to beat both of us, right?" "Right, US." "Oh my god, the truck talked to me! It's possessed by a demon! Kill it!" And so our comic ends with the others heading back into the rest stop. "I'd do the same thing if I were a person, but I'm not a person. Only a truck. A machine." Nimue.
Online.
You're a good spaceship.
Confirmed.
And it's here where the truck confesses that all of this narration has been the truck revealing things to someone who hacked into its circuits. And it turns out it's the Highwayman! "I tapped into your circuits. I made you reveal all you know about your master, US Archer. I somehow knew the truck was alive and am talking to it. And even though you defeated my agent again, I have learned enough now to destroy you both." Yes, you've certainly learned nothing that you didn't already know. This comic is ridiculous, which is what we have come to expect. I have absolutely no idea why they decided to have the truck narration. As far as I know, this isn't brought up again. The truck never narrates the book after this. It's not like the truck gets an artificial intelligence that US can talk to. This is just completely out of nowhere. I think the idea is that the remote control getting whipped allowed the truck to move under its own free will, But how is the truck alive anyway? And why isn't US more concerned that the truck can apparently just launch missiles at will? Still, the overall plot, while basic, is decent enough. Always nice to see development of a rogues gallery, even for a silly book like this, and Midnight's not a terrible villain, so good to see her come back for another fight. Next time, we follow up on something a lot less fun and a lot more painful, with another Nova Girls comic. Tomorrow I think I'll give you an overhaul, old girl. I'm not a girl, I tell ya! I am a man! Truck! Oh, hey. What a coinky-dink.